Hello, this is Paul with Logics Magazine. Today we're going to talk about robots and the human-robot collaboration. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and talk about, the state of robots based on the IFR, which is the International Federation of Robotics report for 2020. So I really want to dig in this. It's really deep. It's got all kinds of charts and graphs. It's got all kinds of info regarding robotics. Then I'm going to talk about my robotics experience. Then we're going to talk also about what you can do to break into robotics. I'm going to say the exciting world of robotics, industrial robotics, and begin to start your own career. But first, this is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe. If this subject interests you, you want to learn more about robotics, go ahead and hit that bell and you'll be notified every time we produce a video. And if you have questions or there's anything that I didn't cover, go ahead and put it down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right? So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I am taking a look at, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, the IFR. I can get this thing. There we go. The IFR, which is the International Federation of Robotics World Report. Okay. So this was put out September 24th. Today is the 25th. So I'm just reviewing. This is brand new information, brand new stuff here. And it's really, I think it's exciting to see this stuff. So let's see what's going on in the world of robotics, which, I mean, if you're going to break into an industry, you really kind of want to do a little bit of industry research. This is a great place to start, right? So the new World Robotics 2020 Industrial Robotics Report shows a record of 2.7 million industrial robots operating in factories around the world, an increase of 12%. Sales of new robots remained on a high level of 373,000 units shipped globally in 2019. This is 12% less compared to 2018, but still the third highest sales volume ever recorded. So obviously it's a little dip, right? All right, so got a video here, but I'm not going to get into this too much because I don't know how long this video is. I didn't watch it. So it's only 1 minute and 4 seconds. Let's go ahead and take a gander at it. Let's take a look at what it is. More than 2.7 million robots operating in factories around the world. Open this up. Automotive stock 34%, 25%, and automation value of new 13.8 billion. So China, Japan, USA, Korea, Germany, 73% of installations in top 5 countries. Cool stuff, isn't it? Robot density worldwide. In manufacturing industry, 113 robots per 10,000 employees. Okay, that seemed like a lot, but, they assist. Right now they're assisting production lines. Most of the time they're not. Well, I did work with Ford. As a production supervisor on the Ford 500 production line, and we made the A-pillars, and those were what do we have? 16 robots on that line that assembled the A-pillar. So, lots of robots on that line, but that's not common. So I had to stop it and start it. So robot density, top 5 countries. We can name them: China, Japan, United States, Germany, Sweden, Singapore. Okay. Singapore, I stand corrected. Singapore or Japan. All right. So a short little video there. Pretty interesting stats. So I like to dig in this a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to go down here to the presentation. I think it's a good place to go. And all right, so put it out in Frankfurt, September 24th. We had a couple of speakers at that. So the IFR is a nonprofit organization since 1987. Let's see, annual global robotics turnover, $50 billion. Robot systems, including software and peripherals. So industrial robots are automatically controlled, programmable, multi-purpose, 3 or more axes for use in industrial applications. Service robots, and this is really important that you understand the differentiation between industrial and service robots. I've made this point a couple of times in some articles I've written and some different things, but it's real important to understand the differentiation, as well as toys. There's a lot of toys that fall in that so-called pseudo-robotic world. But what I wanted you to focus on, at least for starters, is the industrial robotics. However, that should never exclude the service robots, because they're getting to be very big. I did a video or an article, I think both, on automated mobile robotics, which are used. They put them on planes, and then they have arms that fold out between the seats, and they have ultraviolet light, and that ultraviolet light will get down in the crevices of the fabric and kill bugs and viruses. So that's pretty cool, especially in these days of pandemic. So that's getting to be very popular, and they need to be programmed. So the blurring lines between industrial and service robots, depending on its application, the same unit can be a service robot or an industrial robot. Interesting how I guess I hadn't thought about that. Reimagine business processes to make optimal use of collaborative robots. Now, collaborative robots are robots that are designed to work very, very close with humans. Matter of fact, if you just gently bump the collaborative robot, it will stop instantly with virtually little to no chance of injuring the human being. So it's really very, very cool stuff. I got to do a little programming and play around with those when I went to FANUC programming school. Okay, so 2019 global economic downturn and trade tensions leave their marks. So robot stock. 2019, there was 2.7 million units, up 12%, as we mentioned. New robots, 2019, 273,000 units, down 12%. So kind of went over those numbers. Operational stock of industrial robots. So you can see the exponential, more robots deployed than ever, anywhere from 1,000 now we're 2,722. That's a lot of robots, 1,000 units. It's a lot of robots. I think that'd be maybe 2,722,000. So let's go back here. So yeah, so operational stock of industrial robots, thousands of units. I think the point I want to make here, because I'm not sure what they're trying to say with this number here. If that's 2,722,000 units, which wouldn't, well, yeah, that'd be it, 2.7 million units. So you can see that this is exponential growth. It's not just a little bit, it's significant. You know, here in 10 years, you can see an explosion in growth. That means opportunity. And more robots deployed than ever. So, and here is the countries: the United States, 389,000, 1.6 million in Asia and Australia. So that's a lot. Now we're looking at the industry. So the automotive industry is actually huge. And having worked in the automotive industry as a production supervisor, frontline supervisor, and as a controls engineer, it's a big industry in the robotics field. I know companies who have just started and starting engineering firms, deploying and engineering automation and robotic systems in just the last couple of years. So it's very big. Metal machinery. So really, it would be in your best interest to find companies that are servicing the automotive industry and the electronics. And by doing that, you know that they're going to be deploying robots. So operational stock by application. So handling, 1.2 million. Welding, assembling, clean room, dispensing, processing, all other. So handling, so pick and place type robots. Welding being a little less than half of handling. So if you can get a robot to pick and place, then, which is generally the first task, the easiest thing to learn, then when programming robots, then you got the skill set. That's largely 1.2 million in application. So for 2019, and here they're just demonstrating the growth. So we had it was going up. And you can see that there's some ups and downs here for different things, different reasons. All right. So we had a downturn here just a little bit. And I could go in, probably give you my best guess as to why that downturn was in. Just I think it was just a slight dip in the world economy. That's all. High sale volumes in all major markets. So large annual installations, which installations is, it's not installing a used robot. It's a new unit with all the peripherals installed. So that's actually what we really want to look for is new installs. Okay, not that the old stuff doesn't need to be maintained. There's not opportunity there. There's more opportunity there than the new installs. But if we're looking at the viability of the niche, new installs is what you'd want to look at. Two major customers struggled in 2019. So automotive and electrical and electronics. So there was a pullback a little bit, it seems, in the in automotive. But I was actually programming in the 17, 18, 19 for industrial robotics and automation in the automotive industry, and I did not personally see this. I seen exponential growth in my experience. So my experience does not reflect this. Did not seem to be a pullback. If anything, there seemed to be an explosion. But there could be lots of reasons why. Okay, annual installations of industrial robots by application, handling again. China remains the main end user of industrial robots. So we can see that 140.5 million, that's annual installations. Wow. They are just huge right there. But then again, China builds a lot of what the world wants, right? So it just makes sense. Singapore and the Republic of Korea were at the highest robot density. So 855 robots for every 10,000 employees for Korea, and almost 1,000 for every 10,000. So almost one in 10 robots for every employee. 1 in 10 employees. That's a lot. The United States, interesting enough, is way over here, 228 robots for every 10,000 employees. So comparatively, we're nowhere near what Singapore and Korea are doing. But still plenty of growth opportunity, right? Collaborative and industrial robots. So 2019, traditional industrial robots and collaborative robots. So we've seen some growth in collaborative robots here, 18,000. That's quite a bit of robots, collaborative robots. I think that's going to grow more and more. Collaborative robots are going to be the up and coming. I'll do a video on those upcoming. So Digitalization booster. So today, electronics industry seems to be winner of social distancing. So that is an interesting point. With COVID, there's going to end the need for social distancing at 6 feet. There's going to be a big push to implement robotics. If this COVID experiment, social health crisis is maintained over a period of time, or certain practices are adopted as a long-term policy, practice, or protocol, then I think collaborative robots, or robots that overall, are going to be in a much larger demand. So that's actually going to be a great thing for those breaking into the automotive or the robotics industry. So you're going to see an increased demand in new applications, healthcare, and for the production of PPE, good opportunity for modernization and digitalization of production. Deferred investments. So I think that the robotics companies will do some fancy work with the finances to make sure that they just get them out and deployed. So travel restrictions, disruptive supply chain, other side issues. So I know it marks as a deferred investment, plummeted consumer demand, and other demand side issues, travel restrictions, adaptation to the new normal, non-COVID issues remain. So I think there's a lot packed in right here. But if you look at it, I think we can all agree that the market will want to grow. There's likely going to be an increased demand. I think COVID will contribute to that demand. And I think that's what we're getting out of this screen here. So recovery expected for 2021. I expect that very same thing. So catch-up effects, robots make production resilient, many government support, investment, geographical diversification of supply chains, including reshoring, repatriation. So recovery likely to happen at different times in different markets. 2021 will see the recovery, may take until 22 or 23 to reach pre-crisis level. So there will be an upswing. It will take a period of time before we regain that growth and start seeing the market react positively, more so than we had seen in 2019, and getting to the expected bell curve. So I think that I agree with this. I think that will be the case. Of course, it's just a theory. If everything goes right, these are the expectations for the future, and I think that the industry is really kind of banking on that, especially after such a report from the IFR, right? So personal domestic service robots, value of sales. So we got some numbers here. What's this mean to us? I think by now you've already seen that there's going to be some growth, some expected growth within the industry. And then we looked at some of the top industries and the top geographical areas for the consumption of robots. So, okay, now we're talking about service robots here, right? So value of sales, 2019, up 20%. I don't know if you have a Roomba or some other home service robot, but they're going to become more popular. As a matter of fact, I seen a news broadcast today where some companies in Europe are playing around with the idea of using robots for waiters and waitresses versus real people to stay with, to maybe get their restaurants back up and running. So it's interesting news broadcast that I seen about that. So unit sales up 34%, 23.2 million unit. Okay, in 2020, 2023, 55.3. Wow, I mean literally over doubling in the next couple of years. 27%. 27% from a growth. 55 million. Wow. I mean it's huge. That growth is huge. We're talking about vacuuming and floor cleaning, a task for robots. But like I said, now I've done an article on, I've done something on McDonald's deploying robots that cook hamburgers. We've talked about robots that obviously vacuum and clean floors. We talked about robots that go into airplanes and other areas that and deploy ultraviolet light to fight the COVID. We talk about cobots that are safe to work around human beings, really completely safe. No guarding, no nothing. That robot, tiny, just a little bump, and it'll stop that robot instantly, easy to reset. I mean, it's really a fantastic concept. So, there's a lot of that going on. It's really in an innovative time for robotics. So we get steady growth of turnover expected. Okay, so service robots for personal and domestic use, value of sales, 2018-19, potential development. So you see a huge growth right here, right? Huge growth in billions. Notice this number here. Okay, let's look at this number right there in billions. And we're this is fantastic because it really is fantastic. It's great. Great numbers. So we're talking about 10 billion, right? Okay, so okay. Okay, 31% 2023 world of service, professional service robots. So up here we were talking about, world robotic service robots 2020. World robotic service robots, professional service robots. Okay, personal domestic. So in the commercial world is what we're talking about here. So we're talking about the growth of 26% in 2023, 24% in 2020. 2023, 537 million units value of sales, right? And unit sales, 31%. Now this is we're in September of 2020. So they've taken in consideration the impact of COVID. So that's really good. So that's actually very helpful. Robots and logistics are still the growth drivers. So again, what do we got? We got 259,000, right? 259,000 units in logistics and robots for public environments and defense applications. So logistics robotics, that's interesting. I'm not familiar exactly with how those types of robots are deployed, but that would be worth looking into upcoming. Professional cleaning on the way to a top 3 application. So inspection and maintenance robots, professional cleaning field robots, empowered human exoskeletons. That's an interesting world as well. I won't delve into it too much. We'll have to do a video on that. But let's keep going. All right. Medical robots. Now this is interesting as well. So service robots for professional use, top 8 to 10 applications. Very cool stuff. And service robot supplier is a startup. So 889 service robot suppliers, 183 startups, established 2015 or later. 183 startups. So that's your innovation. Those are people who are building or integrating robotics in an innovative way that captures some market share. And that's pretty cool stuff. 728 professional service robot suppliers, 155 startups, 39 startups in the domestic and service robot. So if you're looking for a new cutting edge company who would take on somebody who's new, you might want to start here. This would be a good place. It just shows you that there's opportunity here. Okay, global distribution of service robot suppliers. So Europe, America, Asia. Okay. Technology and application trends, unbroken scale-up logistics, mergers, acquisitions, heavy construction, cloud technologies. Yes, that's a big one coming up. We'll do a video on that. Remote procedures, surgical robots, etc. Business models like robot as a service, lower the entrance level. Standardization and platformization, peripherals, app store, sales platform, plug and play. Yeah, so this is just some comments, I think, about the industry as a whole. And that pretty much wraps up the presentation. So now the cool thing about this is we actually learned some good stuff. We learned some really hopeful stuff. I hope you don't feel like I wasted your time. This is really helpful if you want to understand the robotics niche market. Now, how do you get into it? You're new. You don't have a lot of experience with them probably. And one of the best things to do is to, FANUC, for example, FANUC Robotics, let's see if I can pull that up, Industrial Robotics, they have a training course. Let's assume you work for a company that doesn't send their people to robotics programming because you may not even have any robotics. I would recommend to sign up for their online training course, RoboGuide. Let's see if I can find this. I've spoke about this in the past. Now, it's a little expensive, and you'll likely have to do it more than once. So I would look at Handling Pro, right? And let's go back. So what we want to do is find their training. And they have a, here we go, Education Solutions for Students. You can get access to their RoboGuide software. And the RoboGuide software is a 3D simulation of the robotic. It has everything you need to learn how to program. All right. Now, I put out some videos. Other people put out some videos. So some great material on YouTube about how to program these robots when you have access to RoboGuide. I would say that's your fastest and easiest way to do it. Now, you're going to have to spend some money. Now, you're not going to be able to afford this software. Software is like $10,000. However, you can get an access to it for 30 or 60 days to practice online with it. And it's really great stuff. I have a video that I've done, FANUC Robotic Programming, talks about the first couple of labs that you do if you went to FANUC school. Now, if you got a chance to go to FANUC school, or you get some chance to work with ABB or FANUC software or robots, gain that experience, okay? Once you do that, you'll find that it largely just becomes becoming familiar with navigating the software, and then writing the code once you're familiar is really not very extremely complicated. You just got to spend some time practicing it, and you will get the gist of how it works, all right? But you're definitely going to need some training, no question about it. It's just the way it is. In the RoboGuide software, or ABB Robot Studio, I think it is, has some online options. All right, so go here, and I think it's $350, and you can use the software and learn how to program a robot from home. And then what you want to do is, as you're programming this stuff, it will take no time at all for you to write some programs for your robot, record it, save it in video form. Be able to know how to write that code with a paper and a piece of pencil, so that robot would do what you want to do. And if you show that to somebody who knows how to program robots, knows it well, they'll be able to look at that code and say, yep, that would work. That's all you need to do to demonstrate your ability to program a robot. That's it, right? That's it. If you could do that much, just do and write some code and be able to understand how to do it almost off the top of your head, virtually off the top of your head. Or if you can go out to the floor and demonstrate with a pendant, or you have some videos demonstrating you using the software, I think you have a very good chance of being able to get invited in for an interview and meet with the team. So I'd say it's a great place to start. There's a whole lot of other things you can do, but let's start with that. Get some training, get some familiarity, get the ability to start writing code almost off the top of your head. All right, so anyhow, we're going in about 30 minutes for this, but I really want to spend some time talking about this subject because I love robots. I love the industrial robotics path. But as you can see, there's a lot of different directions to go. All right, so until next time, this is Paul with Logics Magazine. Again, if you have any questions, put them down below. If you're new here, subscribe. I know if you've been watching this long, you're interested in this subject matter. And if you want to know the next time we put out a video, hit the bell. So until next time, this is Paul at Logics Magazine. We'll talk to you guys soon. All right? Until then, keep programming, my friends.